Well, ladies and gentlemen, if it's Monday night, it must be The Last Stand. This man you know well. This is Jay Campbell. I think the foremost, one of the foremost authorities on hormone optimization for both men and women in the country. Absolutely. A guy that has definitely changed my life and one of my very best friends. Jay, welcome to The Last Stand. So glad to be here with you, my brother.
Jeffrey, man, I love you, brother. Thank you so much, too. Just as much as you promote me, I promote you, obviously, in the back end. And we have an awesome relationship and friendship, of course. And it's great to be here. You know, there's a lot of people talking about this show now. The last couple of weeks have been interesting because you've been in YouTube timeout.
I have been.
But that is about to end, which is great. But if
any day now, I can't remember, next 2 or 3 days for sure. And next Monday night, we'll have the Great White Brotherhood on. I can't wait. That'll be back on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. But, you know, Jay, I was just thinking about before we came on where I was a year ago this time and where I am now. And so much of that has to do with you. I know that I had to put in the work, but you gave me the groundwork for it, and I've changed my life completely. And anybody that wants to change their life 180 degrees, all you have to do, spend a few dollars, get with Jay, do what he says, and tell us about the webinar you've got coming up, Jay, because that'd be a great place for people to start.
Yeah, thanks, brother. And appreciate all that stuff. Yeah, so Thursday. No, I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thursday night I'm doing a webinar with Dr. Keith Nichols, and you guys are going to be hearing a lot more about Dr. Keith Nichols, you know, in the weeks, months, and years coming ahead, because him and I are going to be forming a pretty impressive partnership. Eventually, probably launching boutique optimization clinics, which I can't really talk much about right now because there's a lot of planning and stuff in the background. But you guys will obviously be first to know. But Thursday night, we're doing a webinar called on testosterone resistance syndrome. Nobody even knows what that is because it's not an actually acknowledged or identified disease yet in the medical literature. But we feel that we have enough research and eventually that we'll publish about this and it will become accepted. And quite honestly, Jeff, as you know, because we've been talking about it, it's probably this syndrome that is affecting both males and females in the world that's causing this, you know, crisis of fertility, this crisis of lower hormone output and optimization or optimal hormones. Essentially, it's causing the crash of our endocrine systems.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievable. It's, you know, again, I'll save the details, the intimate details for the webinar. If you want to go and sign up for the webinar, it does cost. It's $49 because, again, you know, Dr. Nichols is an amazing physician. And the information that we're providing is like groundbreaking stuff. It really, really is. You know, we're not trying to rip people off. I spent a lot of time creating a 45-page PDF, and I truly feel it's like one of my best works. I mean, a lot of the people in my inner circle have seen it, they've proofed it, and they all agree. It's just incredible. Like, think of it as like a cheat code guide to optimizing your life in this horrific environment where we're under siege and under war constantly.
Absolutely.
All the shit, you know, plastics, BPA, all these different endocrine disruptors. So anyway, it's on Thursday night. It's totrevolution.com/webinar.
And Jay, before we jump into our subject matter, Michelle's in the chat room and she says, ask something, and I know this isn't true, but I can't give her the medical and chemical reasons for it. But Michelle asked, when you begin eating again after a fast, won't your body turn everything to fat for fear of another drought of calories? And I know that experientially is absolutely positively not true. But Jay, why isn't that true?
Well, it's a complex question. It depends on how your body is. It's fast adapted or it's not fast adapted, but your body there's a lot of fear mongering and a lot of misinformation out there about if you don't eat at a certain amount of time, your body goes into a catabolic mode and starts, you know, what is called burning muscle or catabolizing muscle. It's completely false. It's not true. There's no data that shows it or supports it. And obviously, Jeff, there's millions of people around the world who fast who anecdotally prove that it's not an issue. You do, or you should have some sort of a strategy. I mean, clearly my book, which is Blowtorch Diet, blowtorchdiet.com, which will forward you to Amazon, which, by the way, I have a good announcement on that too. It just became available as of Saturday on audio. So now awesome. You can actually, you can listen to that book on audio. It took me a long time to produce it, but.
And welcome to Heidi Vandenberg too, Channel 27 in the chat.
What's up, Heidi? As long as you have a strategy, okay, and you know exactly what you're doing from a standpoint of like, okay, I have this much body fat on my body and my goal is to lose this much body fat, or my goal is to drop, 3 dress sizes, whatever it is, you follow the diet. And again, if you email me, I'll send you the book for free. It's that
That's
simple.
what I was doing, Jay, trying to drop dress sizes.
But, or pant sizes and dudes. But the reality is, as long as you have a plan, you're not going to fail by fasting if you do it right. And essentially, we created, as you know, Jeff, a foolproof plan.
And even if you have a bad plan, like I wasn't following Jay's plan, I was like fasting and working out, and Jay was screaming and yelling at me. But I had a 14-day fast, and I worked out regularly during the whole time. Even though I was doing stupid stuff, I had enough body fat that carried me through, and it worked out really well for me, Jay. I know you don't want me to say that, but it was beautiful.
No, it does work. I mean, there's like I said, there's no science or data that says that if you fast for a certain amount of time and then go back to eating normal food, that your body is going to deposit the calories as fat or muscle or any of that stuff. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about thermodynamics.
It is.
Calories in, calories out. So,
and I fasted again for 14 days, and from last December to now, I've lost about 60 plus pounds, and it hasn't come back. The only time it came back a little bit is after I got back from South Florida. I was going through a little depression. I was eating junk food and not working out, and I picked up 3 or 4 or 5 pounds that way, but that went right back away as soon as I started going back to the gym and doing my metabolic blowtorch diet, Tuesday, Thursday, weekend fasting. It went right away.
Yeah, and it does. And once you get your body fat, as what we call fast adapted, you can do this, for the rest of your life and not have issues. And when I say would not have issues, what you experience is very normal. You're going to have turbulent times in your life, and you're going to go weeks, days, 10 days, sometimes longer, when you're kind of quote unquote off the wagon and you're just eating, for comfort, for stress, whatever. You could easily jump right back into this lifestyle and like you said, get right back to ground zero.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And I'm very much on the bandwagon for physical optimization. I'm very much on for being in great shape. I feel so much better having, lost 60 plus pounds. And the real thing for me, Jay, is that I am convinced now by experiential evidence that if you are physically optimized, it makes it so much easier to be spiritually optimized. I can't even begin to tell you the difference in my spirituality, in my inner man, in being able to live the Hermetic principles, in being able to transmutate energy, in being able to be who I want to be and resist and modulate my vibration as I want it to be when I'm physically optimized versus when I was 250 pounds.
There's no doubt about it. And again, you just said it perfectly. Baines, talks about it in all of his books that, being physically optimized, aligns someone, as we always say, for, downloads from the spirit. It really, I think another thing which we've never really discussed or talked about, and we could probably just mention for a second, it also allows you to be in a positive mindset or mind frame a lot more easily. Mm-hmm. Because when you feel good about yourself,
confidence it gives you. Yeah, we're going in the same vein.
Exactly. When you feel good about yourself, you're going to be more likely to be in a mode or a mindset that is conducive for you being productive or creative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you feel good about yourself and when you've accomplished, great things physically, that, hey, if I can get, I was just going to say, I haven't lost so much ugly fat since my last divorce, but I won't say that out loud. But once you've lost that fat, you just know that you really, really can do anything. And once you get into that mindset, you can absolutely move into great. But here's something that I was talking about today on my channel, Jay, and
sure.
It hit me and I really think it was a revelation, maybe even a prophetic word. I think that for those of us that are making a difference, for those of us that are change makers, I think there's a very subtle, very sinister agenda afoot. I think that we're being attacked, and the attacks are going to come in increasing amounts, but it's not the frontal assault that we're expecting. It's not the, come at us and punch us in the face like we're expecting. There's what I call a beautiful deception that's afoot. There's going to be things coming to us in ways of opportunities, in ways of money, in ways of relationship that are all designed to try to slow us down, to try to get us off track, to try to detract us from our mission. And those of us that are out here trying to make a difference, trying to be difference makers in the world, we need to wake up and we need to be aware of beautiful deception coming our way, and let's stay on focus and let's stay on task. What do you think about that?
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think it segues perfectly right into our first, topic and conversation. Because, Jeff, and this is true, and I know you've been doing a really good job lately because I've been watching a couple of your podcasts in the background. Although I did watch the Derek podcast yesterday, and that thing was all over the place.
It was all over the place, wasn't it?
Dude, I was going to text you guys. I'm like, this started really good, and then it went into flow, and then Derek just kind of melted down. I don't know what happened.
It was all over the place.
I mean, usually you guys are amazing, and like it was just like you guys were both like he was trying to figure out like how to get you out to Arizona, and it was just I don't know. I got all excited when I started watching it because like the first 45 minutes were gold, and then it just started kind of meandering.
Yeah, we started rabbit holing a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it happens. We do it too. Yeah, we do it too. But anyway, the reason I brought that up is because I know it's so important for all of us, especially in this community, to not get too funneled into quote unquote darkness or negativity or, realizing that things are bad because things are bad. And obviously the first point that we're going to talk about is, it's pretty effed up. Okay. Without saying the word. But it is always at the end of the day, your job as an individual to be responsible for yourself and to control what you can control. Right. And so I say these things tonight in this podcast, and I know you're going to be with me, that ultimately you still have to do and practice the Hermetic principles or do the things that David Hawkins talks about. And that's ultimately what you can control because nothing that is happening right now in this third dimensional realm is anything that we can control other than what we manifest for ourselves in our reality.
Absolutely. And Jay, every now and then you and I go off the rails a little bit and we say things that are strong. We say things that, some people get upset about, but I'm going to tell you this, and this is the truth. And I say this without any fear of contradiction. Every single day, Jay, I get emails, I get comments on the channel that are like, you know what, every now and then you and Jay are strong, but at least you guys are real men. At least you guys are in the fight. At least you guys are bringing truth. And I get it every day. Don't stop. Don't slow down. Don't try to regulate yourself. Just be real. Just be free. Just be out there because we need more. This is what I get told every day. We need more people like you and Jay to just go out there and let it all hang out. So what if you upset somebody? So what if you say some things that are strong? It's important because the bridge is out and we got to let people know to slow down before they go careening over the cliff.
There's no doubt, man. Very, very well said. I mean, I really have no response to that. It's the truth, There are very few people, Jeff, in today's day and age that are willing to go out, and speak the truth.
Yeah.
And
Jay, I just have to tell you, I just have to let you know there's some ladies out there that think you're sexy, brother.
Well, as long as my wife continues to feel that I'm sexy, then I'm good because, I'm betrothed and attached and connected. But no, I appreciate the lovely ladies out there giving me props. I'm, at 48, I still got a little something for you.
No, you don't. All your something is for Monica.
On screen, bro.
Okay.
But it's true, and back to what we were just saying and what you were just saying, it's so true.
And for the record, I'm recently unattached, just in case anybody's wondering.
That's right. That's right. I think they know, man. I think they know. Jeff is eligible. You see that halo bouncing off the back up top behind his egg crates? No, but it's true, though, man. There are not a lot of people that speak the way we speak today. Most people are muted. They're afraid. They fear reprisal. They fear a lot of different things. And it's so imperative that in today's day and age that we still have, and I'll say for both of us, that we have strong men and that strong men are not afraid to speak their mind and go out there and take leadership positions, on specific topics, especially in topics that most people are like, a little bit timid or shy to talk about.
And thank the gods for strong women like Monica. I love watching when Monica busts out a video. We need strong women, ladies that are willing to step to the front and say, look, I don't mind being a woman. I'm glad I'm a woman. I'm glad I'm married to a man. And let's not be afraid to be women. And let's not think we got to be men. Let's do what we do. Let's be who we are. We need more like Monica. We really do. And I know there's a lot more out there. And I'm hoping that they'll begin to step forward in increasing numbers. And we certainly would love to support the sacred feminine and the strong women and on this program and with everything that we do, Jay. And I know that a lot of people don't know, but you do a lot of great work on optimization with women as well. In fact, when I was in my last relationship, we started going to the gym and using a program that you gave me, and it was making, it was only about 6 weeks, but there was already tremendous growth being manifested and shown. So Jay can hook you up as well, ladies.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, I just say that we'll jump into the topics here in 1 second, but just back to what you're saying.
And I don't know what the topics are today, Jay, so you're going to have to drive the bus.
No problem. The importance of what you just said, though, is that in today's day and age, there's so much distraction, Jeffrey, because of social media and technology, that if a man or a woman, and it's equal, there's no like one has to do more than the other or less than the other. But if a man and a woman do not do inner work, you are going to go insane.
And even if you do inner work, you got to do a lot of it. You can't just dabble.
Right. That's very, very well said. You do have to do the work and you have to follow through.
Yeah, you've got to do as much work as it takes for the work to take, because I've known people that have, I do the inner work. Cousin, you need to do some more inner work because you ain't doing enough. It's not taken yet. And sometimes my level might be here, your level might be here, somebody else's level might be here. You got to keep doing the inner work till the inner work gets done. There's no prescription to say it takes this much. It's not like doing the blood work and saying you need A, B, and C. Inner work, you got to keep doing till the inner work gets done.
There's no doubt. And people can define inner work a lot of different ways. I mean, for me, it's just silencing the mind. The distractions that we have are so great. And, people that create and produce a lot of stuff like you and I do, for us, when we're constantly on the go, we're constantly thinking ideas and stuff like that, you have to silence that. And doing that regularly is when you're really going to connect with God.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you're going to connect. You have to go deep and ask the questions. And, one of the things I know I told you about this on the last show. I didn't get deep into it, but
Monica, nice to see you.
We went with the face reader, and the face reader gave me a lot of really awesome insights and stuff like that. And she told me that, you just have to be more devotional. She's like, you're doing the work, but you need to be, in a lot of ways, like my active release therapist has told me, she's like, you got to surrender more. You have to be more devotional. You have to ask God questions that you wouldn't normally ask, and that can be just as and I'll be honest with you, I'm doing it now because tonight I took a nap. I picked up my girls from school. I laid down for 15 minutes and I took a nap. And as I was laying there falling asleep, I asked God a bunch of questions that I would normally never ask. You know what I mean? So it's the little things to have trust in.
And you have to be honest with yourself too, Jay, because if you say you're doing the inner work, but you've still got, physical manifestations and you still have emotional manifestations that you're not completely in control of, if you're still manifesting, physical sickness in your body, if you still have emotional manifestations you're not in control of, then you're not there yet. And you've got to be man enough and you've got to be woman enough to keep going until you get yourself to a place where your body is under subjection to you. That's why I do a lot of fasting, because it allows me to tell my body, no, I know you're hungry, but no, you're not going to eat now. I'm in charge, not you. And it allows me to take control and authority over my body and let my spirit man be the one that's in charge and in control. And until you get to that place where you can tell your passions and your desires and even your hungers no, then you still got more work to do. And even when you get there, there's still more work to do to stay there. Yep.
It's absolutely true. Just one quote from my email that went out today. And guys, if you're watching this and you're not signed up to my email list, you can look here on the channel right now and there's a link. I think it's TOT sign up or TOT list sign up or something. But anyway, it's on the link on this YouTube channel. And it's also in Jeff's links too. But this was from the book today from John Baines, of course. We constantly go back to this guy, but it's such an amazing quote. And this is in his newest book, which I told you is just insane. Anyone with a divine spark also possesses great talent because that is where talent originates. One just needs to discover and develop it. So you know how important that comment is? Because think of how many people in the world right now are depressed, they're miserable, they're in grudge, they're in victim, they're in survival programming, their life is meaningless, they're miserable, they think that everything sucks, they're like, woe is me. If you have a soul, which majority of humans do, we know there's some that don't, but the ones that do, you can rise above. You have an amazing divine talent inside yourself. All you have to do is discover what it is.
Mm-hmm. And if you're depressed, if you think you're a victim, if you're wondering why everybody's always coming at you, if you think that your life is you haven't discovered your true purpose yet. You haven't discovered your talent.
Exactly. And you know how you're going to discover it, guys? You're going to discover it by going within and asking the questions, because God will tell you what it is.
Yeah. Jay, I do stupid stuff all the time. I make mistakes all the time, but I never doubt what my purpose is. I know what my purpose is. I know what my mission is. And people can, every day I get inundated by, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're antichrist, you're this, you're that. I've had people people that I'm intimately involved with, systematically deconstruct it. You can't tear me down because I know who I am.
Right. Exactly.
I've discovered it, and there's nothing, once you discover it, you can't be stopped, and you won't ever be stopped. Sometimes you'll slow down a little bit, but you'll never be stopped. Nice to see you, Cynthia. You missed a lot, but you're here to catch up for some more stuff.
By the way, I agree with that 100%. And that goes back to what you and I always say about, once you discover your purpose and your mission, and then you serve it, you have no fear of death. There's no fear. There's no fear of life, because the fear of living is really just the fear of death.
It is. It is. And I don't know if you were watching much on the Derek show last. I know you watched a little bit of it.
I watched most of it.
Do you remember we were talking about why Doc Holliday was the greatest gunfighter of the West?
Of course.
He was the greatest gunfighter in the West because he had tuberculosis and he already knew he was dying. He had absolutely no fear.
And Jeff, and we could say this and do a whole show on this, but I say this to everybody that I counsel and mentor and guide in my life, and you will not go to where you want to go. That divine spark, to find that divine talent that you innately possess, you will not get there until you overcome that fear, because that fear is the limiting belief of everything else in your life.
Right, right. And I realize it was a fictionalization of a character, but that's why Doc Holliday can sit there, dying of tuberculosis, right, and, drunk and, run down, but he can sit there and say, I'm in my prime. Because you believe you're in your prime, and you are in your prime, regardless of what's happening to this meat suit. Once you find your great basic purpose, once you know who you are and what you're here for, you are in your prime, cousin. You're a huckleberry, and it doesn't matter what happens with this meat suit 3D world, you've already overcome.
There's no doubt about it, dude. I mean, again, it's easier said than done. You said it really well, Jeff. You really do have to have some form of a purpose defined. But once you have a purpose defined, it's going to automatically, as long as you're serving your mission at your highest intention, it's going to automatically overcome your fear of death. Because think about this. The mission is what you serve at the highest intention daily. And when you're serving at that intention, at that level, death isn't even a thought. Yep. You're not sitting there constrained by a fear of time, because remember, time and death are the same. You're not fearful of a constraint of like, oh my God, if I don't do this, or if I don't make enough money by then, or what happens if I die of my parents, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you have all these absurdities that, get into your mind and get into the drunk monkey. And you don't have that when you're just serving every day. But you're right, Jeff. You do get tired. You do get exhausted. You get depleted. When you create a lot, your body is going to, collapse at times. You're going to be physically tired. You got to sleep.
And things are going to happen to you. You're still alive.
Absolutely.
People are still going to disappoint you. People are still going to let you down. People still are going to stab you in the back. You're still going to make stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
So you're not beyond the realities of this 3D human life, but you just have the answer for it. And you may be, the old saying, you can't keep a good man down, you can't keep a good woman down, and you can't keep a person down that has discovered their great basic purpose and knows what their mission is and no longer fears death. You can't keep them down.
No, it's impossible. And I mean, even when, like, you're right, even when I wake up sometimes in the morning, and I woke up this morning miserable. My fifth vertebrae, my L5 was out, and it went, it went in, and it was literally hitting my sciatica. Oh. And so I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God. And, my chiropractor doesn't, isn't open till 10. So, you got to make stuff happen, and you're like, and I couldn't even sit down, dude. Like, I could not sit down with my back upright and put my shoes on this morning. It hurt that bad. And so, but, you deal with it. You deal, but, back to what you were saying is like, I said a little prayer to God and said, look, this is nothing. There's people out there that are way off worse than me. I'm going to make this happen. And I appreciate any help you can give me. Absolutely. 2.5 hours later, I was adjusted and I was good. I even went to the gym could barely sit down, to do anything, but I still trained.
Excellent.
Yep. So anyway, so the topics tonight. So guys, again, just a forebearer. These are negative, but we're not talking to be negative. We're talking about what is happening, what Jeff and I are witnessing. And it's just, again, it's not to create fear. It's not to tell you guys to run and hide and get an underground bunker, but, just to be ready and be prepared and be aware. And that's what's important right now. It's awareness. Okay. It's not to just ignore things and listen to the nonsense that you get on the mainstream news and all that other stuff. So anyway, the first topic is the transhumanism movement. Now, I brought this up as a topic because you and I are obviously, the show is called The Last Stand, because we definitely all know by now that they are trying to make us into some form of robotic AI, synthesized automaton, metahuman, whatever it is. But very crazily, this weekend, an article came out on Friday in Forbes, and it's called Human 2.0 is very close. And then literally the next day, this woman, and I forget the name of her. It's a YouTube channel. It has 360,000 subscribers. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Because I have it pulled up. Hold, please. She's called Truth Stream Media. They have 362,000 subscribers. It's amazing. I remember that. But it's an amazing video. It's called The Transhuman Agenda Just Went Mainstream.
Wow.
And I watched the video. It's only like 30 minutes long. And then I read, of course, the article in Forbes. And guys, there's no disputing it here anymore. Anyway, the end of her video, she pulls up a lot of data. It's a very, very good video. It's on Facebook. It's actually going to be in this YouTube channel. Actually, the link's on the YouTube channel right now, so you guys can fact check this. But she says that the goal of the transhumanists, whoever they are, is that we're done by 2023.
Wow.
So,
which is right before that next full solar eclipse, which is 2024.
Listen, how many times have you and I been talking about this? How many times have we talked about what I see in my world in the optimization realm with humans failing, with EDCs attacking us, crippling our biological systems? There is a full-scale war being waged on humanity, and it's either to extinct us completely or to turn us into machines. It's one or the other, okay? And very clearly, all you have to do is go outside and look around and look what's happening. Look at the transgender stuff. We talk about in my world about the urogenital distance between the anus and the testicles has reduced more in the last 10 years than it has in the previous 1,000.
And what's that indicative of, Jay?
They're essentially trying to effeminate, basically making men into women. 100%.
That is so amazing.
So the EDCs, and again, that's why the seminar that we're doing, our webinar on Thursday is so important, because we're going to present the data that shows this. But the EDCs, the environmental, or the better for everybody, endocrine disrupting chemicals, it's really the same thing. But they are causing a complete transmogrification of human DNA. So we are changing at a level that has never before seen in the history of humankind, at least in this epoch from a measurability standpoint. Like, you don't see these type of epigenetic changes to the gene pool or the genome ever before. So clearly the EDCs with the GMO food, with them bombarding our environment, doing all the things that they're doing, they are changing us physically.
And they're doing it at a rapid pace.
Dude, it's happening so fast, Jeff. And so anyway, you guys just read the article and watch the video. I highly encourage you guys to do it. It's not going to take a lot of time. The video is really, really well done. Whoever runs Truth Stream Media is a really smart person. It's a woman. She's really smart. It's really, really scary. Again, and I don't want you to be scared, or we're not trying to sharp fear, but this is, this is what's happening out there right now. It's incredible how fast, like you said, Jeff, how this is all happening.
Now you know why I say we're the last generation of real humans, because we really are.
We really are, and again, I keep going back to not talking about fear. So what can you do, right? Like, well, what you can do is you can do all the things that we talk about all the time, which is physically optimize yourself.
Absolutely.
Stop eating McDonald's. Stop pounding alcohol. Stop eating sugar. Stop eating all of these boxed, engineered foods that they want you to eat that are made of literally toxic systemic poisons that get into your bloodstream and destroy your cells. You got to stop eating that stuff.
It's just that simple.
It's just, I mean, it's sad because people will say, well, you know what? I don't have the kind of money to eat organic, or I don't have the kind of money to cook wholesome food. That's not true. You can go cook lentils. You can use, make tuna. I mean, even tuna probably has mercuries in the can. I mean, dude, I don't know. There's a lot of really smart people that tell me there's no escaping this, that what's coming is what's coming. And, you either adapt and survive or you die. I don't know, but it's scary, man. We are being polluted and poisoned from just about every direction. We really are.
Yeah, I'm getting a text about that Truth Stream Media production that it is really good.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. Everyone should watch it. It's really, really good. I mean, it really made me, pause about 16 to 18 minutes in because of what they're doing to the environment,
And there's no doubt about it. They are attacking us. We are literally under attack.
Dude, yes. I mean, the light from just the blue light is damaging our eyes. It's damaging our retinas. They have, data on this. No. All of this stuff is not helpful to living a long life.
And it's so easy to do. I used to be a big sugar user up until about 2 years ago. I mean, a lot of sugar. And I made the change to stevia, and sure, it tastes funny for like 2 or 3 weeks, but it's so much better for you. And oh, come on, you can have excuses or you can have a better life. It's just one of the two.
I mean, there's no question. And, both of us are not like, you can't eat sugar. You can't have a Diet Coke or, a soda every now and then, or you can't eat, a sweet filled or an engineered food. I mean, we're not saying that, but what we are saying is that you have to start making better decisions, because if you consistently eat those things regularly, you're destroying and shortening your lifespan. And not only are you shortening your lifespan, but you're screwing up your kids, because all these things are happening second and third generation downstream.
They are. Yep.
I mean, a lot of these men, Jeff, a lot of these men, we'll be talking about this on Thursday, but a lot of these men of today are the result of the birth control products that their mothers took unknowingly and unwittingly, they did not know, that washed off into the water table. And they are horrible drugs, very, very toxic. I mean, these drugs also are causing effeminization and demasculination. I mean, it's insane, all of the stuff that's happening from these drugs. But again, we live in a toxic soup bowl. So take efforts or make efforts or take initiative to try to, again, optimize and live a clean life. As Jeff said, exercise, cardiovascular, weight training, lower carbs, don't eat carbs after 6 o'clock, drink a ton of water, try not to drink out of plastic bottles, try to drink out of steel containers, phthalate-free containers. I mean, I'm doing a great job of that myself.
Yeah. Jay, I was really surprised at how much of a difference when I actually started doing cardio made. I hated doing cardio, and I started doing cardio and reading like you recommended, and it's amazing how much difference it makes when you're doing your cardio 3 times a week, and it's really amazing how much difference it makes when you're following the metabolic blowtorch diet and you're doing your cardio twice on your fast days. That really shows you stuff, and it shows you right away. I mean, it really does. The rapidity that you see change is amazing. Or at least,
well, and just, a byproduct of all of that, it's all true, but a byproduct of all that is, people will say to us, oh, I don't have time to read. I don't know how you guys read. Come on. When you're doing your cardio, you can read. Like, absolutely. Even if you don't even have a book, and you're a younger person, you use the digital stuff, the Kindle, just put your phone, go to Costco or whatever and buy, or, order it from Amazon and get one of those things that are magnetic stands and put it on your bike. They even have portable ones if you go to the gym and do your cardio, and you just put your phone, turn it landscape, and read while you're doing your cardio. You kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
That's what I do now, and it's amazing. And your cardio just goes like that.
Exactly. That's what I always have told people. I've been telling people that for probably 15 years, that you can do both, and you're doing, obviously you're improving your life because you're exercising. At the same time, you're improving your knowledge because you're reading.
And Jay, there's been a couple of times where I'm doing it, and then all of a sudden the thing, the beep, beep, beep goes off. Like, there's no way my cardio is really done. But it is done. How did 45 minutes go by so fast?
And here's something else too. When you're doing cardio, remember, you're increasing blood flow to the brain. So
That's
you're also,
true.
if you're reading, you're going to be also susceptible to bouts of creation. And you're going to have ideas and you're going to have thoughts that are going to, brush into you. And you're like, oh, wow, I could do this or blah, blah, blah. I mean, I get so much deep thought done when I'm doing cardio in the morning. It's incredible.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I mean, that's a lot of times I have my little Evernote thing there and I take notes and I leave stuff right there in the notes app on my phone. And I come back to that. And that's how I'm able to put out so much content. I come right back to the idea, which I never would have had if I wasn't doing cardio.
That's great. So and we're talking about the connections between physical optimization and spiritual optimization. And that's one that you don't even realize unless you're doing it.
It's incredible. So the next topic, and this is one that this is not debatable anymore because I've been pulling up the research and obviously I have to do this.
Beer has filtered water in it, right?
You have to do this. And by the way, alcohol, guys, like Jeff and I are anti-alcohol, but again, and I write about this in my books, 4 ounces of alcohol a night, the human body can absorb. Now, we're not telling you to drink 4 ounces of alcohol every night, but there's no such thing as like just total elimination. Moderation is the key. Okay.
Well, I haven't had any alcohol in over 3 years, Jay, but I
mean, obviously the best way from a consciousness and an awareness increase standpoint is no alcohol.
Isn't 4 ounces like 2 shots?
No. It's way less than that. But I mean, you can have a glass of, red wine or white wine and not a giant, supersize me glass, but you can have a glass of wine a night if you're a small person and be fine. Now, I'm not saying do it every single night. It's always moderation, but I hate being that guy who tells people don't do this. I mean, obviously you and I don't do this on alcohol because you are going to have a conscious awareness expansion.
Right.
But if you want to drink and you're one of those people that says, oh my God,
I'll be right back, Jay.
I have to do this, man. Oh, we lost Jeff, guys. I don't know what happened. What do I say? Anyway, guys, Jeff will be right back. But bottom line, what I was talking about is alcohol. Just don't overdrink. Don't overconsume. If you're going to drink, if you're going to have a glass of wine, have a glass of wine. Do it with your friends. But don't get caught up into the whole like, oh, I have to drink. It's peer pressure or social pressure. I don't want to have anxiety. I have to drink because I feel better. I can talk to people. Don't do that. I always told people in the past that when I was in my work experience, when I was a wage slave in my 30s, I would, if I had to go out with clients or entertain, I would have a glass of water and ice, and it would be water and ice, and people would think it was vodka and tonic or something like that. You can do that. Just, figure it out. So the next topic, and hopefully Jeff comes back and joins us, but the next topic is the global economy. Okay. And the global economy right now is very, very interesting. There he is. Everything all right, dude?
I just had to get another cup of coffee, bro.
He's dying on me. I thought something bad happened. But anyway, I didn't start. I was just telling people about drinking.
No, I heard every word you said, and I agree with it. I mean, you can have a glass of wine, but don't have a bottle of wine.
So the global economy topic is interesting because right now, and again, we don't watch it, but I have to see certain things. I have to look at different articles and stuff like that because I have to from my real estate business. But
good night, Cynthia.
The real estate. So right now, the real estate business in all the major markets is starting to decline. Okay. And again, I posted an article today that since 2008, we're right now having the highest price cuts in all the major markets in North America since the 2008 recession.
Wow.
On top of that, we're seeing in the automotive industry, I published another article, very, very deep cuts in the used car industry. They're struggling to sell used cars right now because obviously new cars last for so long. So the automotive industry is starting to struggle significantly. And then, the biggest anvil to me of the harbinger of the global economy right now is brick and mortar retailers. So you guys saw last night, Sears went bankrupt. Okay. Sears at one time, not influential now, obviously, but Sears at one time, as the article I posted said, was like the most important company in the United States.
It was.
It shaped the retail landscape of America, and to see a giant stalwart company like that go under, it's sad, right? But we understand, technology shifts and businesses shift along with it. But the question that you have to ask yourself, and this was what was in my email today, is, okay, if that's what's happening to Sears, well, what does that mean with J.C. Penney? What does that mean with Macy's? What does that mean with Walmart or Target or Best Buy or any of these gigantic brick and mortar retailers that employ millions of people collectively? Yeah. So if one goes, are they all this close to going? If they're all close to going and they're like, well, you know what? Bankruptcy looks a lot better than having to go through layoffs and stuff like that, then bottom line is my opinion is that we are a lot closer to whatever is going to happen economically than most people believe. Because again, the national media is telling everybody that everything is great, that we have high GDP, we have low unemployment, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, we have high debt. And that is the inescapable thing at this point right now. So, I'm telling everybody this because in my belief, we are looking at in the next 6 months going into a significant decline. I won't say if it's a recession or depression or wherever it goes, but to me, it's capable of going really bad. So you got to be ready. You got to be prepared. You should be frugal right now. You should absolutely be saving your money. You should be cutting costs. You should be doing the right things. You should have a rainy day fund set aside. You shouldn't be spending money excessively on things you don't need. But this is stuff you need to be careful about because we're definitely going into some sort of a recession. I don't know how significant, but it's definitely, in my opinion, going to be more significant than 2008.
Very interesting. So you're encouraging people to cut some corners and put some money away.
Totally, dude. Like, oh my God, what happened? It says the live stream is offline.
Yeah, I saw that too, but we're still live, but it just looks like if you refresh it, the live stream's still there, but the chat's not there.
What the heck?
So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but it says chat is disabled for this live stream, but it looks like we're still streaming.
That's really weird, dude. It says we're still live. Huh. Wonder if YouTube cut us off because we said something. Did we say something?
I don't know what we said. I don't think we said anything except don't drink wine.
Dude, that's absolutely crazy. You're right. It's not live anymore.
I think, isn't it live?
Well, it's live, but it's not showing live on YouTube.
Huh.
I don't know. We have no chat. Why would it be live still? That is bizarre, dude.
Well, it looks like we're still there, but I can't really tell.
I don't think
so. But
so.
Anyway, we're still, it shows that we're still live now, just that the chat is not functioning for some reason. And now the chat's back.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, YouTube, technical difficulties.
Yep. But the chat is back. So it looks like we're back. We're back, Jay.
Sorry,
we are
guys.
Back. We're back.
That's bizarre, dude. I mean, it's still not showing anything for me.
Yeah, I've refreshed and everything. We're back on. We're live. We've got our chat room back up. Click, click, boom, says Crystal Keith. So we're good to go, brother. Keep rolling.
All right. Sorry, guys. I have no idea what's going on. It doesn't show me anything. All right, cool. I can't see anything. That's bizarre, dude. And so anyway, yeah, we're talking about the economy, and it's very obvious that we're going into a decline right now. And again, just how significant it becomes, I don't know, but you should be trying to live as frugally and as modestly as possible right now, without a doubt, 100%.
Good advice. Good advice. What else do we have to talk about tonight, Jay?
Well, I mean, the last, that was kind of it. Just go over the last 10 questions I have for the Great White Brotherhood.
Oh, that's coming up next week, same time. Different channel. We'll be back on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel. And thank you so much for that. We're over 26,000 followers. I think we're going to be 50 by the end of the year, or subscribers. Thank you so much for that. And I think this is a Triskelion or whatever you call it on my shirt. I'm not really sure, but and we're looking forward to talking to Bob next week. And I mean, he is would you call him the facilitator of the Great White Brotherhood, or the communicator, the mouthpiece? What would you call him?
I think kind of a facilitator, mouthpiece. Yeah. Really awesome guy, man. Clearly we're going to get people that are going to question us, and, because they've read all the other nonsense that's on the internet about the Great White Brotherhood. And there's definitely, as Bob has told us, there are a lot of frauds that are not part of the Great White Brotherhood. There's a lot of people that claim to be part of the Great White Brotherhood, ascended masters and all this other stuff. But again, I continually go back to this. If you've read the actual books that are on the greatwhitebrotherhood.org, okay, and they're free, they're not making money for these books, people. You can download them. You will not be able to come back at me and Jeff and say this is all bogus.
Yep.
Okay. Now, we don't know if they really are telling us 100% of the truth. And Bob will tell you that there's no way for the Great White Brotherhood, being who they are, quote unquote, ascended masters, angelic, galactic beings, whatever, to even impart specific forces or channels of wisdom to us, because we're not capable in our 3D brains of understanding.
Right. Are these the same people that Blavatsky would talk to?
That's what I'm going to ask him. I don't know, possibly, but I don't really know. And that's, again, I always go back to what David Hawkins said. David Hawkins says that you got to be really careful with astrals and channeling, because there's a lot of astral beings, infinite universes, infinite permutations, infinite planes, and most of them are negative. And most of them are not, like, they don't have humanity's best interest.
I would agree with that.
So who knows? But, I have read Blavatsky's book. I've read The Secret Doctrine. It's a very, very difficult book to understand. You got to read it 1,000 times. It seems like there's so many different cool things about it, especially with the root races.
Very deep.
That's one of the questions. That's one of the questions, is we're going to be like, look, is the Great White Brotherhood that you're speaking with the same Great White Brotherhood that she technically was communicating with? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. It's one of them. All right, so let me just read these questions. So these are the other 10 questions. And by the way, I have had some people that have sent me questions to ask that were like essentially follow-up or part and parcel to some of the other 10 questions that we talked about last week, and they're really good. So if you're listening to this and watch this in the rerun and you have a secondary or third, tertiary question to one of these questions, please just email me. It's jay@trtrevolution.com, and I promise if it's good, I'll definitely.
That interview is 1 week from tonight on the New Cosmic Knowledge channel, interviewing Bob Sanders of the Great White Brotherhood.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, so here's the other 10 questions, guys. So number 10 is, are we getting close to the end of the age? Actually, I think I read this last week, but that's all right. I'll read it anyway. Are we getting close to the end of the age? Is the timeline going to shift? Select humans into a higher expression of their DNA. What happens to the sleepers, which we talk about all the time? A good explanation of this ascensional process would be great for everyone. Number 11, what are the best steps, most important things aware souls can be doing at a time such as this?
That's a great question.
Are we at a divergence point of the human species where one group moves forward and another does not?
That's got to be a yes, Jay. It's got to be.
Would this be physical division of people as only the ethereal or soul level? So that's number 11. Number 12, the Great White Brotherhood claims that going into the light upon physical avatar death is the right strategy, but many other esoteric researchers claim going into the light seeking familiars blasts one back into the soul control matrix and the reincarnation wheel. Is there a true soul trap surrounding the earth, moon, where the quote-unquote Anunnaki or the archons recycle soul energy?
Wow.
Another good question, definitely. 13, John Baines. I'm sorry, wrong way. Number 12, the Great White Brotherhood claims, no, that's right. I just read it again. John Baines, the Hermetic scholar and author of Stellar Man and the Secret Science, claims that not all souls reincarnate. Some just disintegrate back into organic matter absorbed by the earth. True? Based on what the Great White Brotherhood states in some of their books, this is true. If it is true, why do some continue their soul's journey while others do not?
Wow,
Also
good question.
Yep. 14, is the future already written by the multidimensional beings shaping our reality? The archons of destiny, as written about by Baines, the Anunnaki or the archangels of dark and benevolent nature, God? Because if this is a simulated reality in the 3D realm of material form, why would it not be?
Yeah.
15, the Great White Brotherhood claims there are no aliens, only astral beings, demonic and angelic, of many different intentions and manifestations. Aliens are discarnated shadows of the 8th dimensional aspect of human physical avatars. What about the many different humanoid beings living in Middle Earth, i.e. Inner Earth? So that would be like, what we've read about with the Agarthans and these other so-called Middle Earth humanoids.
This is great stuff.
Yeah. 16, is the following overview of creation generally accurate? Can you point out any major mistakes? This is a long one. Creation is fundamentally quantum, as modern humans would understand a non-determinate, non-linear system. 8 fundamental frequencies were created by the God force and have a form similar to and can be visualized as a general form of atomic orbitals such as drum mode wave functions. I have this all with, and this has been sent to them already, so they have this. They have a link. And then the primary 8 planes are 8 is the reservoir of souls, which is the first populated membrane. The seventh is a higher plane, the first step down from the eighth. The sixth plane is the imagination plane. The fifth plane is the higher self plane, soul, plane of truth, and the Akashic library or records. The fourth is the astral plane, where the heavenly and afterlife regions are located. The third is empty, which is a buffer space. Number two is hate, negative emotion-based existence. And then the first one is also hate, negative emotion-based existence. So remember, we always talk about the lower astrals. That would be 1 and 2. Okay, there's a lot of other stuff in here, but we've sent this to him, so I'm not going to read this. So last 3 questions are 17. In the Stairway to Freedom, you comment on dietary matters. Can you confirm, clarify, or go into detail on the impact of consuming meat and spirituality?
This is a big one because this is something I've always struggled with. I was a vegetarian for a year, and I never felt bad, but I never felt good, Jay. I know that you've kind of toyed with this too, and morally, I would love to not eat meat, and I can't wait to hear what Bob Sanders has to say about this.
Yep. So this is part 2 of that question. So in the modern Western world, it would seem most foods are compromised between chemical and genetic modification of a large degree of modern foods that can the Great White Brotherhood suggest in navigating diet under these conditions. So essentially they're asking, or we're asking, if we can like pick some modified foods versus others, or if eating any modified food is bad for us.
And Jay, I was talking with a very smart woman the other day, and we were discussing the morality of eating meat and killing animals and consuming their flesh. And yet, if everything through the Hermetic principles that we know has vibration and is alive, we're also killing and eating the vegetables as well, if you look at it in that realm.
Absolutely. Everything has a soul. I mean, so I always go back to what I read in the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, and the Lost Teachings of Atlantis flat out says that if you are going to eat another being, another living being, you give thanks, to its sacrifice, and you eat.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. I mean, again, if we think on the dimensional plane existence, and we're not, the highest form of life, and there's giant beings, which we know there are giant beings who ate us. I mean, it's all silly to start thinking about like, it's wrong, right? I mean, it's just the dimensionality of human life, or not human life, but higher life, that we eat beings that are below us or beneath us. Again, I'm not questioning the morality of it. I'm just talking about the actual biological system. You need energy. You must eat to survive.
Right. There's things about being in this existence that we just don't like, but we just have to participate in them while we're here.
Yep. So number 18 is, can you provide an updated list of foods associated with various rays, as you referenced in Stairway to Freedom, which is chapter 6, Diet for Health and Spirituality. So this is a footnote to this because Bob said this in the book. As I said at the beginning of the chapter, the actual list of food has been removed until it can be updated. That was according to Bob Sanders. So that's number 18. Number 19 is the quantum foam, quantum fuzziness, or the 0-point energy field, whatever name you want to use, the light of the God force that nourishes all. Are they in effect biophotons? And then the last question is, are we living in a simulated reality, a matrix, if you will? And if it's so, why don't more humans realize this is all a dream? One they can wake up from at any point.
Somebody makes the comment, Caroline makes a comment, but plants were created for our consumption. I think that's presumptive based upon biblical stuff. And anything that can run in fear is not for our highest existence. I understand what she's saying. I think it might be a little bit presumptive or presumptuous. And I mean, I agree with the morality of it. I really do. But the reality of it strikes me in the face.
Yeah, I mean, I try to avoid these conversations. Like, it's you really can't win. You're going to piss people off. I've had people leave the Coders of Truth and attack me and stuff because of like what I said on different shows and stuff like that. So I don't really get into this debate.
Yeah.
I look at Jeff everything from a biological evolutionary standpoint. I do know, and I said this when I was on a show yesterday in a podcast, that there are specific animal proteins that the human gut biome has, evolved over a long time to have and to use,
right.
to utilize. And when you don't have those, it causes issues in the synaptic pathways of the brain. And people can debate me all they want, but it's true. And that doesn't hold true for everybody because there's always outliers, but there are a lot of people who cannot be vegan.
Yep. And I appreciate Caroline's thought process. She's saying you cannot judge what someone eats. This is about frequency and energy.
Right. Well
and
said.
I have to agree with her. We eat low vibe energy and when we eat an animal killed in fear. And that's hard to argue with. That's why, we do try. I know I try, and I know Jay does, to try to get, free range animals and, humanely butchered, which is kind of an oxymoron, but you do what you can.
100%, man. There's no doubt about that at all. I mean, people are going to choose what they're going to choose. People are going to eat what they're going to eat.
Yeah.
I may at some point, attempt to go vegan. Right now, I've said it. I'm not going to do it. I can't even remotely consider the idea of losing brain power or struggling physically.
You can't, and it's just where we are. And I can sit down to dinner with Caroline and have my food, and she can have her food, and we have a great spiritual discussion and give each other, grace and give each other fellowship around the things that we're agreed on, and not be arguing and fighting over the things we're not agreed on, because there's so many things that we are in agreement with. It's so silly to, shoot each other or cut off fellowship with each other over, one thing that we disagree with. And I understand the morality of it. I understand, her position and other people in the chat room, but there's just some biological realities that I personally have not been able to overcome.
I agree 100%, and, for people like us, bro, we need peak performance. We need peak mental power and energy. And, just the sacrifice or the thought of not being who we are ultimately. Because again, what's more important? The fact that we eat meat or the fact that we serve our highest purpose and consciously co-create so that we can benefit the most amount of people?
See, that's the thing right there. I'm almost to the point where it's, going to the Native American thought about it. We don't want to kill these animals. We're very sacred about it. We're very thankful about it. But the way things are in this world, we have to have this animal protein in order to function optimally. And we have to function optimally in order to help as many people as we can make it into the ascension process and not be lost in this wheel and not be captured by this fear and guilt control matrix. So if I have to answer someday for either consuming meat products with my current understanding or not being able to complete the mission that I've been given, I would much rather explain the meat that I eat than explain why I wasn't able to do the mission I was given to do.
Of course. And again, us eating meat is just one person versus us creating and impacting the world at large, in the, what do you call it? The 100 monkeys thing. It's millions of people.
Absolutely. And we get it. We understand it. And I'm glad that we have people like this that we can have this discussion with, and it doesn't turn into the, they're not throwing blood at us, and we don't go the PETA route and we don't go the, the stupid vegan route with them.
I'll just add this, not to freak people out, but I was reading something about a week ago, and I know I was talking to you about it, but, there's a lot of people out there that actually believe that the entire GMO industry, they're putting, and Rex has had people on his show to talk about this. Shout out to Rex Spur.
League Project, Rex Bear.
Yep, Rex Bear. The reality is that, the food industry, the engineered, modified food industry is not good. Okay.
No.
And if they are killing babies, which we've talked about on the show before, and they're sacrificing children and they're drinking their blood and harvesting adrenochrome and doing all these things, why would they not also be putting the biodegradable leftovers, whatever you want to call them, remains of these people that they sacrifice en masse into this food? Because again, if archons here are feeding off of our bio emissions, however you define that, it would make sense.
That's a great argument for going vegan, Jay Campbell.
Well, it's true though, but I don't know about that, because the food, the people are eating vegan engineered food.
That's true.
I don't think there's any escaping living in this engineered, modernized society today some form of engineered food? I mean, you would have to be incredibly anal retentive and militant about never eating modernized or engineered food, because it's everywhere. I mean, you would be, if this is engineered, this that you put in your water with caffeine and electrolytes and all this is engineered. I mean, so unless you're just going to be drinking water out of a well somewhere in Montana and catching your fish, which, by the way, catching your fish or eating eggs or tofu that you grow on your farm, that's going to be engineered and modified too because of the environment. So I don't know how you can avoid any of it at this point. There are very smart people that will tell you that you can't.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's the world that we have to live in sucks, Jay. It's just the bottom line.
Tomatoes, man. You could still make what you make out of a world that is fast declining, fast trying to create, robots out of all of us or worse. It's your choice. At the end of the day, you still have a choice. What are you going to do? How are you going to live your life? Are you going to try to improve other people's lives? Are you going to serve other people at your highest intention? Are you going to get caught up in the stuff that we're talking about and get depressed and negative? No, don't do that, but just be aware.
Yeah. And I understand and respect the beliefs of people that are vegans, people that are vegetarians. Mm-hmm. And I believe the people, I'm okay with you, whatever you eat, just as long as you're trying to be responsible. And if you're trying to get yourself physically optimized, I'm okay with you.
Yeah, and there's tons of vegans out there that are in great shape. They're vegan bodybuilders. There are vegan fitness competitors. I just did a podcast yesterday with a guy. I forget. It's called the Rocket. I don't know. It was very distinguished to be invited on the show. And I did the podcast yesterday morning. But I tell because they asked me, they're like, "What's the best form of bioavailable protein that a vegan should eat?" And I said, "Look, pea protein. Don't get caught up into all of these other proteins like collagen protein and all this other nonsense." There's so much bad information, by the way, Jeff, online about vegans as far as the right type of essential amino acid spectrum types. Tofu does not give it to you. Collagen protein does not give it to you. Hemp protein, there are so many people that believe that hemp protein is a perfect protein for vegans. No, it's not, okay? But pea protein is. So if you're a vegan and you're watching the show right now and you're not utilizing pea protein, I highly recommend and suggest that you do. The best place to get it in the cheapest, most bulk form is True Nutrition, truenutrition.com. I do not make any money by promoting them. I do know the owner of the company. He's an amazing person. But that is very, very high quality, high grade. Whenever they test it, it's like 99% of label claim always. So that's where you get your pea protein. And honestly, pea protein, if I was going to go vegan, man, I would have about 100 containers of that in my house.
How does it taste, Jay, pea protein?
It tastes good. They have multiple flavors. If you guys go to truenutrition.com and you look at pea protein, you can see they have tons of flavors. They put the flavor additives into it. GMO additives.
But it does taste pretty good, huh?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. You wouldn't even, in my opinion, you really won't taste much of a difference. I mean, there's a little bit of a taste that you got to get used to, but
yeah.
You're talking to a guy, dude, that drinks sweet potato powder, and it has chocolate peanut butter flavoring and sweet potato
Why do you drink sweet potato powder?
I drink sweet potato powder from True Nutrition because it's a perfect carbohydrate source.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. You've never shared that with me, Jay. I thought we were close.
Yes, I have. Sweet potatoes are, from a carbohydrate burning and glycogen replenishment standpoint, the fastest found in nature. So what the guys did at True Nutrition is they took sweet potato powder and they made it into like a hydrophilized powder form so that you could just use it as like a drink, So instead of eating 3 sweet potatoes, you could have a drink.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah, and you can gain muscle. If guys are hard gainers, skinny, fat, thin, really naturally thin people, it's a great product to try to gain muscle when they're training hard.
The things you learn on The Last Stand, ladies and gentlemen, you can't get this anywhere else.
No, you can't. And we apologize for the technical difficulties tonight. And the good news is I think this is going to be the last one on this Dakota's
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Michelle Cannon-Free says she'd like to stalk you for a day, Jay. She calls it shadow, but I think she really means stalk you for a day.
Is she a real estate agent? Because you could always just come into my market and stalk me and Monica.
Oh, that's true. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I learned that when I first got in real estate a long time ago, that like real estate agents that were starting out in the business would like shadow very successful ones just to kind of follow them around in their day and see what they do and stuff like that. And it's funny because Monica did that too when she was first starting out. But thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, Jay, I'm looking forward to next week when we can get Bob Sanders on here finally.
Yep.
And it's going to be good stuff. And if things happen in between, we might have to have an emergency broadcast between now and then. And I'm always open for that.
Yep, for sure. Probably not Slam this week.
Oh, that's right. You'll be gone. You got a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah, just a shout out, just you guys, if you're watching the show and you know somebody like, especially men, because I mean, it's not really geared towards women, but women can watch the show for their men. But the testosterone resistance webinar that we're doing on Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is pretty next level stuff. And if you're a guy, if you're somebody that's on testosterone or contemplating using testosterone and they want to understand how to battle the EDC environment that we're living in, which is so hostile and so contaminated, consider it. It's just TOTrevolution/webinar.
Sounds great, Jay. I'm looking forward to next week and appreciate being with you always.
Always, man. We will shut this down. You guys, thank you guys for watching. As always, if you guys want a copy of any of my books, just send me an email. The easiest way now is contact@trtrevolution.com.